Well, good Wednesday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with Mighty Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here. I hope everybody's doing great on this hump day. Do you realize that next week, this time, well, it's actually not this time. It'll be a couple more hours from now because it's West Coast time, where it is about 70 degrees versus about that 105 that it is in Dallas. Thank God they are getting out of the heat for Oxnard. But the Cowboys will be getting ready for their very first practice. In fact, on Monday, on Monday, the team charter lands in Oxnard. Tuesday, get their physicals and get everything ready, get their uniforms, get their rooms, get everything together. Oh my God. And look, down there, guys, take a look. 50 days, 9 hours, 14 minutes, and 20 seconds away from kickoff of the 2022 season. And, this morning, shout out to Big Wade. Big Wade, oh my goodness, Big Wade. I have so many great fans out there that help support and bring me information. And Big Wade brought something to my attention this morning that it's one of those things that makes sense. It's hard to believe, but it makes sense. The Dallas Cowboys, we always have a good season, and then they expect us to follow up with another good one. I talked about that last night in my fireside chat, although I forgot to make it live till I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning and then made it live then. But the Cowboys, whenever they are expected to do something, is when they disappoint. The Cowboys, we go through, we have a great season, and everybody says, oh, well, the Cowboys, look what they did last year. They're, built for the future. They're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to take the next step. But they don't. We followed up 2014 with Tony Romo hurt, in 2015, 4-12. So 12-4, 4-12. We follow up 13-3 in 2016 with 2017 with 9-7, missing the playoffs, and so on. And you have to go, this literally blows my mind, that you have to go back to Chan Gailey in the 98 season and the 99 season for the Cowboys to actually have back-to-back playoff teams. We went 10-6 in 98, and we went 8-8 in 99. And that was the last time the Dallas Cowboys went to back-to-back playoffs. Not Super Bowls, geez. They've been to Super Bowls since way before that. And that was Chan Gailey taking over for a 6-10 Dallas Cowboys team of Barry Switzer's. That, my friends, coupled with the curse of the NFC East. The NFC East that literally has not had a back-to-back champion since the 2003 and 2004 season. That every year a different team wins the division. Cowboys are fighting history. Cowboys are fighting bad karma or whatever. Cowboys have to go against the grain of what always happens. Can this Dallas Cowboys team do this? Well, the question, let's ask this question. If no coach for the Dallas Cowboys has gone to back-to-back playoffs, and that's Bill Parcells, that's since Chan Gailey, Bill Parcells, that's Garrett, that's, let's see, I can't remember his name, went 5-11 3 years in a row. But if nobody has been able to do that for 20 plus years, do we hold Mike McCarthy at a different standard that he can't, because he doesn't get it done, even though we had Bill Parcells and Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett. None of these guys could do that. That we look at Mike McCarthy and say, but he's better than them and he has to achieve more? Does that automatically mean that that if he does not make the playoffs and do something that Bill Parcells couldn't do, something that Wade Phillips could not do, something that Jason Garrett could not do, that he deserves to lose his job? Or better yet, can the Dallas Cowboys get out of that cycle? I don't know. I believe that they can. I believe that they can. I believe that, like last year, that the NFC East could potentially put in 2 playoff teams. I think we could. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that we could do that again. Let's go to this is the great time of year, because we now have NFL Now back on, which is now following training camps. The New York Giants rookies are reporting to training camp, and they're going back to the old Giant blue colors this year. You know, they're trying to see if they can recapture some other magic and stuff. And we have Jane Slater talking about Dak Prescott, and also Adam Rank talking about what the Cowboys' record might look like. So let's go to the tape.
California, up the 101 parking lot from us in Los Angeles. Cowboys veterans don't show up until next week. They're rookies in this coming weekend. All eyes on the quarterback. All eyes on the shiny object again. Last year was all about, Jane Slater, Dak Prescott's health, coming back from the major injury. He proved he could be healthy. He can play again. They could be a good team again. Now, Dak says he's in the best shape of his life. What's his offseason been like?
And I know we all sort of roll our eyes when we hear that, but it is true. If you look at him as he's heading into his 7th season, just take a look at some of those photos from his youth camp that he had at the Star in Frisco about 2 weeks ago. The guy is shredded, and he said a lot of this has been a conscious effort on his part to stay in shape. He hired a personal trainer that goes with him when he's on vacation and not. He's working on stretches and functional training. And he says the reason for that is he wants to work on that mobility, but more importantly, you'll start to see it when you see the ball release and when he throws the ball. So he's feeling good physically, but I think more importantly, it's the mental aspect. Mentally, he seems like he's in a really good place. If you think about last year, he was coming back from that gruesome ankle injury, and there was a lot of questions about what he was going to look like on the field. Then, of course, he got to training camp, Andrew, and that's when he had that injury in his throwing shoulder, a baseball injury that had the Cowboys consulting with the New York Yankees and the Texas Rangers, and we didn't see him during the preseason or much of training camp. So he's been getting a lot of work in, and when he hasn't been getting work in at minicamp and OTAs, he's been building a lot of time in to work with his receivers. So we'll see how that all plays out at camp here starting next week.
Jane, keys to success for Dak and this offense this year. Kellen Moore didn't lead. Kellen Moore is back. Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, still the brain trust there offensively. So what's going to be different this year?
Well, I think the one thing that really hampered this offense from doing what they needed to do to stay more efficient than what they were was this offensive line. 7 different offensive line combinations doesn't help you up front. And it also didn't help when you had Ezekiel Elliott, a guy that you want to run the ball and you want to be a run-first football team. Well, he was dealing with what he told me was a right side PCL injury. He said that really hurt him when he tried to open up. And then, of course, he re-aggravated it throughout the season. But he's a tough guy. He played through that. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you can debate that. But they do want to run this ball more. And whether that's going to be with Ezekiel Elliott or we see Tony Pollard getting more, there will be a conscious effort there. But as I talked to somebody in the building today, they said, we don't want to say we're necessarily a run-first team or a throw-first team. It really all comes down to the teams that they're playing, but they do concede that they need a more balanced offense. And keep in mind, they're trying to have a more balanced offense with a lot of young, unproven guys and a guy like CeeDee Lamb who's now got to step up in the absence of Amari Cooper. So a lot of questions about this offense, and we'll start getting some answers here in the month of August.
They invested in the offensive line of the first round, taking Tyler Smith, whose name is on the screen there, at 24. Out of Tulsa. Thank you, Jane Slater. You mentioned who they're playing. The schedule sets
this is where it gets interesting.
When you look at strength of schedule, and the entire NFC East here is near the top on this quote-unquote easiest strength of schedule. Remember, once the season begins, you throw last year's records out and everything kind of changes. But for now, the Cowboys are tied for the easiest strength of schedule. So, Adam, rank, that means they're obviously going like, what, 17-0?
Coach Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat in Dallas despite winning the NFC East last year. But what is in store for this season? Let's take a look at their schedule. It is very difficult right off the top, opening up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know something weird is going to happen in this game. When weird things happen, the Cowboys usually lose. But just when you're about to write off the Cowboys and be like, this team is done, they rally to win a game that they probably shouldn't be winning. I know a lot of people will be on.
I think they beat Tampa Bay.
But I got the Cowboys here. But then, you know, it's still the Cowboys. They're going to lose on the road Monday Night Football.
Come on, man.
Beating the Commanders before they take on the defending Super Bowl champions, the L.A. Rams. A loss. They got the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that they have dominated over their last 3 contests. They have smoked the Eagles, much like JBL smoked the Blue Meanie. But the Blue Meanie's an Eagles fan. They rallied. I'm going to give them the L there.
Wait. Hold on. What
the hell's going on out here?
You got us losing to the Giants. I'm sorry, losing to the Giants and the Eagles. Did I get that right?
Over Detroit and Chicago.
You got us losing to the Giants and the Eagles.
The Bears have played pretty well against the Dallas Cowboys over the last couple of years.
But beating the Bengals.
Victory, bye week, Mike McCarthy, revenge game. That's an L. But he's got an old favorite. The Minnesota Vikings, a team he's had a lot of success against. Give me a win there. You're not going to lose 2 games to the Giants. Indianapolis, though, this is one of the most interesting ones.
You haven't lost a game to the Giants since 2016. Okay.
Matt Ryan is the new quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. That's a good football team. I still think the Cowboys can take them. They will take the Houston Texans as well. And you see the Jags there, and you're like, well, there's an easy win. I don't think so. Doug Peterson has done pretty well against the Cowboys in the past. I will take them there. And then the Eagles have a win against the Philadelphia Eagles before losing to the Titans, and then a win over the Washington Commanders. Best case scenario, the Cowboys don't miss Amari Cooper at all, win the NFC East to be the first back-to-back champion in years. Worst case scenario, the pressure gets to be too much. They're right around 500, which is just where I have them at 9 wins for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, wait. So let me see if I get this straight. Let me see if I have this straight. At the moment, and you can't go by strength of schedule. You can't go by strength of schedule from what happened last year. Because you could look at it and say, if you were looking at it and say, oh, we got 2 games against Cincinnati from whatever they were 6-10 the year before, and then all of a sudden this year they're playing great, all of a sudden that changes the number. It skews the numbers. Because teams that were good last year are going to be ass this year, and some teams that were ass last year are going to be good this year. We've seen it ourselves. We went from 12-4 in 2014 to 4-12. Okay, I mean, so it's hard to really judge that. I mean, really is. I mean, some teams you look at and say they can be improved, but they're probably not going to be great. You can look at that with, say, the New York Giants. Sorry, I just don't see with Daniel Jones, unless maybe they go ahead and get Jimmy Garoppolo, which would be an improvement, and unless they get an offensive line that's better and they start getting some guys that just stop dropping the football, and somehow Barkley now becomes the guy that he has always been touted to being. I don't see all of these things happening. If you're saying that we have one of the easiest schedules in football and we can't get but barely above 500, you're really saying that we're just an average team with the players that we had. That went 12-5 last year, most of which were nicked up. You could look at it and say our key personnel, Tyron Smith was nicked up. You can look at it and say Tony Pollard had the plantar fasciitis tear. You can look at Zeke Elliott, who had the PCL tear. You can look at it and say Dak Prescott had the ankle injury that he was recovering from, the calf injury, as well as the throwing shoulder issue going into the start of the season and couldn't have an off season. You can look at the fact that the Dallas Cowboys had 8 different starting lineups on the offensive line. If the Cowboys could go 12-5 with all of those guys, and I'll put in there too, DeMarcus Lawrence, who had the broken foot after week one. Broken foot after week one and missed significant time. Oh, Michael Gallup. There you go. That's 8 guys that had significant injuries that either weren't anywhere close to 100% or missed significant time. If those guys alone can stay healthier with the same team going against some of the same opponents with an easy schedule, you think that they regress that much from 12-5 to 500? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me, but then again, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll, but I appreciate being here and being with you guys. With that being said, you know how we roll.
Our coach here, as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting,